Gene McDonald's bank granted him a single payment loan of $5,000 for 90 days at 9% ordinary interest. What is the amount of ordinary interest owed? Okay, so remember, always start by asking yourself, what is the problem asking me to find? And in this case, we're finding the amount of ordinary interest. So that's your cue to grab your ordinary interest equation. This is slightly different than the simple interest equation that we've seen in the past, that I equals PRT. In this case, our interest is still equal to principal, P, times rate, R, but our time variable is slightly different. Rather than just T for time, we're having time and we're dividing it by 360. Notice also that time will be in days. If you'll remember with simple interest, I equals PRT, time was always in years. In this case, again, with ordinary interest, time will be in days. So to calculate ordinary interest is pretty straightforward. We just fill in the information. So in this case, ordinary interest will be equal to principal, which is equal to $5,000, times rate, which is 9%. Remember always to convert that to a decimal. We can't multiply with percentages. Times time. And this is a 90-day loan. So we take our 90 days and divide by 360. Simplifying, taking 5,000 times 0.09 times 90 over 360 gives us our ordinary interest of $112.50. So the key here is just remembering that in the case of time with ordinary interest, we take the time in days and divide by 360. Let's do one more example with ordinary interest. So Marina Guzman's bank granted her a single payment loan of $3,250 to pay a repair bill. She agreed to repay the loan in 31 days at an ordinary interest rate of 11.75%. What is the maturity value of the loan? Now remember, maturity value is the worth of the loan after the principal has had time to accrue interest. So maturity value is going to be equal to the sum of the original principal and, so P for principal, and any interest I it has accrued. So we're looking for our final value is going to be maturity value. So maturity value again is equal to principal plus interest. Now they specify in the problem that we're talking about ordinary interest. So to calculate interest, once again, we're going to have principal times rate times time. Time in this case is calculated as time over 360. Okay, so let's plug in what we know. Now obviously we can't plug anything in for maturity value. We can't plug in interest for maturity value until we solve interest. So interest is equal to principal. The principal of this loan was $3,250. The rate of this loan was 11.75%, so we put 1.1175. And our time is 31 days. So we multiply by 31 divided by 360. So run that through your calculator. And even though I'm doing it here, I do recommend that you run this through your calculator and just double check that you also come up with $32.88. Reason being that your calculator may have certain settings that cause your answer to be off by a few cents compared to mine. And if that happens, even if you're off by a cent, your answer is wrong. So you need to be very exact about your calculations. Although we deal with pretty simple operators such as addition, multiplication, division, we have to be very exact with our answers. Okay, so this is our ordinary interest, meaning we can take this number and plug it back into our maturity value equation. So again, we know that our principal was $3,250. We're going to add that to our interest, $32.88, and we find that our total maturity value is $11.75%. And we find that our total maturity value is then equal to $3,282.88. So ordinary interest is pretty straightforward. You just need to remember that rather than just multiplying by time represented as a year, we multiply by time represented in days and divide by 360.